Okay, Kubrick Glover, 1972 here. Um, uh, I think it was recently on, fairly recently, because I did a poem that I wrote many years ago, and I um, did it on GarageBand. I put some music. I chose I think it's called an Urdu or whatever. It's a Chinese instrument. It's like a stringed. It sounds like a fiddle kind of. That's not something like that. But anyways, I did that, and I've done. Greg Stott asked for why we like movies, so I did that fairly recently, and um, I did something else too. Well, anyways, it's all there. Before this video, you'll see. Um, Before we get into showing my collection, I just want to say that um, I, I'm, I'm I'm trying to. If you could watch my other videos, one of them is called "Cost of Love Number 3," and it's a treatment that I wrote, and it's a film I'm thinking of making. I don't know. It's got a car chase in it, so it's kind of complicated. But anyways, I did a storyboard of it with Google Photos, and I added sound effects and music, and then I did voiceover narration with it. So if you could take a look at that, give me some comments, that would be appreciated. I did one called Dirty Dog, which is, after the song Dirty Dog by ZZ Top. That was for a digital filmmaking class I took. The class chose If Dogs Could Talk, and I thought maybe if dogs could sing. So I went to a dog park, and I went to a place where they, have a kennel for dogs, and I went to some people that had dogs where I work. But anyway, so enough of that. And then my GarageBand videos haven't been getting a lot of hits, so if you could watch those, I'd appreciate it. But anyways, enough of that. Let's get to the DVDs and Blu-rays. So we left off, and this was a while back, I know, because it's a few months ago, and I believe, and so this is the second part, and what I started with was Japanese films, and I'm going to continue with that in this video. I might have to go into another video of Japanese films because I have so many. And when I do a movie room tour, I'll show where everything is. But the thing is, with my collection, I tend to, how people store all their criterions together or whatever. Well, I don't. I do have a lot of criterions, but they're sort of. I think I said this in the previous video. They're mixed in with the other films, and anyways, I've said before in earlier videos, maybe a few years back, that I tend to put like famous directors together in one area. So one of those Japanese directors was, of course, Kurosawa, and I showed that in a previous video. I did get new editions of Rashomon and Throne of Blood. Got those on Blu-ray. Oh, and I got Hidden Fortress, which I used to have on tape. I still have it on tape. It's in storage, but I also have it on DVD and Blu-ray. You know what? After I show all these Japanese films, I'll show those. Oh, and I bought Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, the last Barnes & Noble Criterion sale. But I showed that in a previous video. That was one of my most recent, the Criterions I recently bought. So enough of me yammering on. Let's get to the movies. So I think these, yes. These two are by Seijun Suzuki. This is a much earlier edition of it, but it's Tokyo Drifter. And I don't think there's anything fancy with this one. Oh, rare interview with Seijun Suzuki, but that's about it, I guess. Got a nice booklet there. I've seen the newer edition, like on YouTube or at the store or whatever. But I guess I'm fine with this. So that's that. Next up is another Seijun Suzuki. It's called Gate of Flesh. And a fair amount of my Criterions are Japanese, and I think the Criterion Collection has a lot of Japanese Japanese films in their collection. So, and this is an interview with Seijun Suzuki and production designer Teruo Kimura. Stills gallery of rare archival production photos and art. Original theatrical trailer. So these seem to be pretty short movies. This is 90 minutes. That other one was under 90 minutes. So here's the cut. Here's the chapters right there. Oh, and this is a fold out. I know, like Dean, the DVD, was saying, like, I think it was Dean that was talking about, like, why can't they put them in booklet form? I think they've gone back to that with the newer ones that they've, newer meaning new Criterions, not necessarily new Japanese ones, but that too, but I think they're listening. I think Criterion is listening to people talk in places like YouTube and other places on the internet. And they say, like, we want booklets, the people that collect Criterions. I think they're listening to people and picking up on it. Next one is by Mizuguchi. It's called Ugetsu. I think it's a ghost story. I've watched this, but it was a long time ago when I watched it. I think it's called, I think the full title is Ugetsu Monogatari. Monogatari, I think Monogatari or something means story in Japanese. I'm not sure. What am I doing? There we go. So that's the movie. And then you got a documentary about Kenji Mizuguchi, the life of a film director. Got the disc here. I know I'm doing a terrible job, but there you go. And then it comes with a booklet, nice little booklet here. Yeah, I don't know if I've read too many of these Criterion booklets. I mean, I enjoy having them, but I don't know, I just never make the time. And I don't know if I know the actors and actresses in these movies, whether they're, like I know the Kurosawa regulars because having a hard time moving this. I have to be slightly selective with these because it's such a big thick book that it's hard to pick all the ones. So I haven't seen this film in a long time, so I can't remember it all. I don't know. I have to show other movies as well. So, I mean, this is going to take up a huge chunk of time. But it seems to be lots of text and lots of pictures here. It's got short stories in here. So, that's Ugetsu for you. Yeah, that's right. Next one is by Mizuguchi. It's a Blu-ray. And by the way, I think a large portion of my movies are DVDs, but I've begun to accumulate a fair amount of Blu-ray. So here's The Life of Oharu, and I had no idea what this movie is about. It's audio commentary by film scholar Dolly Andrew. Mizuguchi's art and the Demi-monde, an illustrated audio essay featuring Andrew. The Travels of Kinyo Tanaka, a 2009 film by Koko Kajiyama, documenting the actor's 1949 goodwill tour of the United States. So you got that there. This is a nice booklet too. How can I? Oh, and it's got a nice photo here on the inside artwork. So and next, it's Mizuguchi as well, huh? This is called Sancho the Bailiff. I think maybe you can tell that I'm really into Japan. I mean, I had some people in elementary school that taught me Japanese. I took Japanese language as adult continuing ed course. So I'm not really fluent in Japanese, but I know some words and some phrases. So, you know. But if I watch a Japanese film, I don't think I pick up on most of the Japanese language. I mean, when they say certain things, I know that's what they're saying. Even though the translation's there, maybe if the subtitle wasn't there, and they said a word I know, I wouldn't catch it. But because it says in the subtitle, and I hear them talk, I know what they're saying. I know what the word they're saying. So like when it says water on the subtitle, and he says, or whoever says mizu, I know that means water in Japanese, Or like with The Last Emperor, the scene where Puyi and his wife are greeting people at this place, and they're filming the event, and they're playing like the Blue Danube or something, and people are being introduced to these Japanese people, and they're going hajimemashite, which means how do you do? And then sometimes it's followed with like dozo yashiku. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Dozo meaning please, and then to meet you. And then there are other things in Japanese like I think like people think konnichiwa is the way you say hello, but I think it depends on the time of day. Like if it's morning, it's Ohayo gozaimasu, or Ohio meaning morning, or konbanwa, which means good evening, I believe, and oyasumina-san, which means good night. So I know a little, So that's Sancho the Bailiff, and that I know a little history of Japan. Like there were 3 shogunate eras, and that the third one, not eras, dynasties. And then the third one was by Tokugawa Ieyasu's family. And there was like battles over parts of. There was a lot of civil war, I saw Martin Scorsese's Silence, and I thought it was great. I like the fact that he didn't. Not that you can't use music in a movie, but I thought it was great that he didn't use music, and it was just sort of like a restrained style, and just restrained, would that be the right word? I mean, it was just done really, really well, and I loved it. I thought it was. I haven't seen many films this year because I'm trying to save money, but I'm living in a place that requires more in rent. But it was a fantastic movie, and I highly recommend it. And so here's a book. Now this film is, I believe the plot of this movie is this family was once well-to-do, and they get put into a category where they're poor. It says in the back here, see, I love how Criterion Taylor makes these things. Without mercy, man is like a beast. Because there's like no tolerance for changing class. If you were born a farmer or a merchant or a samurai or a daimyo, that's what you were. You couldn't debate it or whatever, you had to be it. And Sancho, I believe, is a character in the movie. I think he's the antagonist, maybe. But very good movie. But I haven't watched it in a little while. Next up is Kahachi Okamoto's Sword of Doom. This is a good movie. It's a nice, fun movie. It's about this samurai who's basically not too nice. He likes killing people, and I mean he doesn't really that's Toshiro Mifune right there, who plays a good guy in this movie. But it's just like a fun, just like a fun, well, like a violent, bloody movie, just with lots of sword fights, and he has no mercy. This guy, and the main character is played by Tatsuya Nakadai, who those two guys, Mifune and Nakadai, were regulars at Kurosawa's. So so Tatsuya Nakadai plays the bad guy in that film. Then we have another movie. This is by Kaisuke Kinoshita. I don't think the Japanese people would say it quite like that. I would think they might stress, a letter or whatever. They might, So, but anyways, that's some nice artwork there. This is about an old woman. I haven't watched this in a while, but it's about an old woman, and she's coming into the twilight of her years, and I think maybe it's her family has to leave her in like the woods, and she just has to die out or whatever. So might be based on like a folklore of Japan or something. I can't remember exactly. And I don't think I read the book, that comes with this DVD. And the next two films, I would say, how people have top 10 lists of their favorite films of all time? Well, I do have sort of a top 10, but those films could be replaced by the same director's other films, or they could be replaced by other films. And and I've seen so many movies, it's hard to say, what's your favorite movie? So I would say, I'm not quite sure what it is, but maybe it's 40, 50 films that are my favorite of all time. And maybe I'm adding some, maybe my newest favorites would be There Would Be Blood and Videodrome, for example. So, and I saw one called The Devils by Ken Russell. I think it's only been shown a few times since it came out in 71, I believe it was. I saw it at Alamo Drafthouse, and my friend told me about told me about it. We went to see it, and I thought it was great. And I think it was Scorsese's own print. I'm not sure, and but it's a masterpiece, and it's been hit. There's troubles with censorship with it, so just the nudity in it, the sexual nature of it is. But his widow was there, and she was saying that he's a Catholic. He's not putting down the church. He's really trying to show like maybe the hypocrisy of it or something. So I'm not a religious person. I'm basically an atheist, but I thought the film was pretty good. And the very last shot, there's an homage to it in Polanski's The Pianist, which I heard mentioned at the Q&A afterwards. But anyways, let's get back to this. So there's this film I found out about on Ebert and Roper. I can't remember if it was Ebert or Roper that recommended this movie. But it's about the Japanese soldier during World War II. I think he's got tuberculosis, and at the start of the film, he's told, "Why did you come to the front? Go to the hospital." He goes back to the hospital. They say, "You're not sick. Go back. You can fight." So it's sort of like an anti-war film. Well, it is an anti-war film, I would say. And it's not exalting the Japanese in any way. It's made by Kan Ichikawa as well. That's the director. So I highly recommend this movie. It's a really good movie. Not a very uplifting movie, but just shows you the hopelessness of war. I guess you could say that that's what it is. It's got a nice picture here. Maybe it's Guadalcanal that it's showing. There we go. And it's 23 minutes in. I thought of making videos about 20 minutes long, but I think YouTube can handle a 30-minute video. But I'm looking at the other ones, and I think I'll end on this video on this one, which is the Burmese harp. Now this is about a Japanese soldier who gets separated from his troop during World War II. A monk finds him, and by the way, he's inside there, and his fellow soldiers are outside. He's inside the statue of the Buddha, and he becomes a Buddhist monk, and it's called the Burmese harp because he plays a harp, and that's the way the other soldiers who were put in a POW camp know that it's him. And this film, it's kind of uplifting, I would say. What happens at the end is kind of uplifting. I would say kind of uplifting, so. And I guess you could say this is an anti-war film as well. So music plays a big part in that film. So we'll stop it there, and we'll continue on with the next set of Japanese films. So I got quite a bit of Japanese movies. So all right, well, we'll see you in part 3.